In the world of baseball, the pitcher holds a unique place. The pitcher, alone on the mound, holds a position of power, precision, and perseverance. But behind the glamour of strikeouts and victories lies a darker truth. Over the years, the number of pitching injuries has been on the rise, casting a shadow over the sport we love. It feels as if the game's favorite pitchers will at some point come to face the reaper. Time and time again, we see the best pitchers in the game get hit with season-ending injuries. But why? Why are pitchers getting hurt more now than ever before? Pitching now looks completely different than in the past. We are in an era of high-octane fastballs, supercharged relievers, and analytics for everything that a pitcher does. One pitcher who has seen the game change was asked what he thought caused the rise of pitching injuries. Justin Verlander, when asked, stated, "Everything has a little bit of influence. I think the biggest thing is the style of pitching has changed so much. Everybody is throwing as hard as they possibly can and spinning the ball as hard as they can. Everybody's trying to get to this level. You want to go play D1? You got to throw hard and spin the ball well. You want to go to the minor leagues? You got to throw hard and spin the ball well." The numbers back up what JV was saying. This is what the average fastball looked like in 2007. The majority of pitchers averaged 90 miles an hour on their fastball. In 2023, you can see that the average fastball velocity has increased to 94 miles an hour. A jump in 4 miles in just 16 years is incredible. The distribution of average fastballs is also more narrow in 2023 than it is in 2007. This means more pitchers today are throwing harder and there's less variance in fastball velocity. Verlander was right in saying velocity has increased, but has this led to more injury? This is a graph showing the average fastball velocity per year from 2007 to 2023. This is the same graph with Tommy John surgeries added. Both lines are trending up. As pitchers are throwing harder, you can see that there are more injuries, but the correlation is not 1-to-1. I would not say that increased velocity alone can explain the rise of Tommy John surgeries. This brings to question the other half of Verlander's statement. It's not just about throwing hard. Pitchers are also trying to spin the ball as hard as possible. I was surprised to see the spin rate on fastballs has stayed relatively the same since 2015, but you can see the spin rate on breaking balls has increased by 250 revolutions per minute. Also, a funny side note is, you can see that all the spin rates dipped in 2021 when MLB decided to crack down on sticky stuff, which helps pitchers grip and spin the ball. So can we see a correlation between breaking ball spin rate and Tommy John surgeries? Maybe. We can see that Tommy John surgeries have risen a little bit as the spin rate has increased on breaking balls, but it seems like Tommy John surgeries were already at a relatively high level. I think it's fair to assume that yes, it is possible that the increased spin could be contributing to this rise. To what amount does spin rate contribute to pitching injuries? That I have no idea, but I believe velocity contributes more than the spin based on this data. Old school baseball wisdom would tell you get Tommy John surgery from throwing too many curveballs. I thought it would be interesting to see how the pitch mix has changed throughout the years. Here are two pie charts showing the pitch type distribution of pitchers. The chart on the left shows 2007 and the chart on the right shows 2023. Since 2007, pitchers are throwing more breaking balls and less fastballs. Breaking balls are up 6% and fastballs are down 6%. I thought this was interesting, but nothing substantial enough to explain the Grim Reaper. Tony Clark from the MLB mentioned the new pitch clock as a reason for the rise of arm injuries. The league office was quick to point out that the issue of rising injuries was here long before the pitch clock. Is it possible that the pitch clock contributes to the rise of injury? It is too early to tell for some people, and given that this issue has been known for a while, even before the pitch clock, it is unfair to focus on this aspect when there are other factors that weigh more heavily on injuries than the clock. Some will argue that the clock brought the game back to a tempo we haven't seen since the 1980s, and in that era, we did not see this amount of arm injuries that we do now. Others will counter and say that pitchers now throw harder than they did in the 80s, so the tempo comparison is moot. One thing is for sure, if pitch clock factors into injuries, it is not the leading factor. Could it be the lack of sticky stuff? In 2021, MLB cracked down on the use of foreign substances like spider tack, pine tar, and mixes of other substances used to get a better grip on the ball. Tyler Glasnow, injured in 2021, felt that this is what led to his injury. Glasnow had an issue with the substance ban being imposed in the middle of the season rather than before the season, and giving pitchers time to adjust and get used to throwing the ball without substance. Either way, The sticky stuff crackdown has only happened recently and cannot be the leading factor in the rising injury rate. Another interesting factor in all of this is how MLB changed the baseball. In the same interview, Justin Verlander put it this way: when the ball started to change back in 2016 and they started flying out a bit more frequently, that started changing how I had to approach pitching. I want swing and miss. I can't have the batter put the ball in play. Where the old adage, pitch down, pitch away from the guy, hit your spot, get weak contact, that kind of went out the window when everybody started being able to leave the yard. This brings up a good point. Major league teams prioritize swing and miss. They no longer teach pitchers to pitch to contact because the ball is flying out of the ballpark. When it comes to MLB-induced baseballs, this is a topic that is so convoluted and one that I'm not ready to talk about, but I would love to do a video on this in the future. JV hit the nail right on the head when describing the issue as having multiple factors. But the main factor is everyone is throwing as hard as they can. MLB knows it has a problem, so how will they fix it? Front offices value velocity because it provides results. High velocity plays, so teams sacrifice innings from starting pitchers for velocity. High velocity is leading to higher injury rates for players at the same time, but teams will not shy away from velo and the players will chase what will get them paid. We need teams to value innings more than velocity. One way to do this is to tie the pitcher to the DH. If a team takes their pitcher out of lineup, then they lose their DH and a relief pitcher will take the spot in the lineup. This would hopefully have teams prioritize a pitcher accumulating innings, thus keeping the DH in the game as long as possible. I think this could be a fun rule. I've seen some iterations of this idea where you can keep your DH if the pitcher throws a certain amount of innings, or if the pitcher gives up a certain amount of runs, then you can replace him with a reliever without losing your DH. I think this would be fun for managers to use and strategize. It blends the old National League where pitchers hit with the appeal of the American League's DH. Until we find a solution to have front offices not value velocity and have them value other aspects of the game, this problem will persist. As long as teams are willing to pay for high velo, the players will chase it. I don't think there's an easy solution, but this is the biggest issue in our sport. Tell me what solutions you may have, tell me if I left out any important points, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, check out our other videos, and we also have a weekly baseball show that we do. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time.